howdy, hey. It's time for another Wild Game Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. It's Wednesday. It's about to get wild. Tonight we are going to be doing an awesome trout recipe. Rainbow trout all the way from, guess where? Montana. So yeah, we're going to jump right in. First things first, of course. Thanks for joining us. Crack open a beer. Enjoy your Wednesday night. It's hump day. We all need a little something to get us through the week, especially during these trying times during this age. So cheers. Cheers to everyone. And here we go. We're going to be doing a rainbow trout recipe that's over a really unique salad that contains a lot of fresh ingredients. Going to be delicious. First thing that we're doing is we're heating up some water and we are going to do some potatoes. Not just any potatoes, but fun little potatoes. They're going to cook quicker. We are going to smoke them as well, and we are going to be doing smoked trout as well in maybe a way that a lot of people haven't seen before. I like to keep it fresh. I like to keep it poppin'. City of Compton. That's right, this Montana boy knows how to rap. Rippity-rappity-roo. See, a couple people just popped on. Thanks for joining us. Kicking off here, doing an awesome smoked trout recipe tonight. Just going to get my water boiling. First tip of the day, whether you're boiling pasta, potatoes, or whatever it is, season the water. So we're going to drop, that is not salt, we are going to salt our water and get that seasoned up. When you season your water, your food in the water will take on that beautiful taste of salt that we as human beings enjoy so much. And thankfully, my little burner here gets hot real quick, so it should only take a few moments to get that going. And of course, over to my side here, as always, is the beast, my Traeger Ironwood 885. If you tuned in to our Sunday game day episode, and you can watch that back in our previous episodes, we made a massive meatball hoagie. It was super massive, about 1.5 feet long. The meatballs we made were about the size of pool balls. We made our own homemade red sauce. It had provolone cheese, spinach, basil, all sorts of good stuff. But I'm super happy to report that it actually was one of the 10 winners for Traeger's Game Day Smokedown. So I got to hear my name called last night virtually. Mr. Chad Ward called my name as one of the winners and showed my sandwich off. On the same episode is running back Adrian Peterson, so I guess I'm in good company there. But yeah, that's super exciting. So if you haven't seen the massive hoagie, you should go back and watch that episode. Not right now, later. Not right now, later. But yeah, so I'm getting a really sweet Traeger flag that we'll have to adorn the Game Day Smokedown with my glory there. But it was really exciting. So 10 people won, and they said there was over 1,000 entries this week. So that's pretty rad. And if you tuned in, thank you so much. You got to experience the whole cook with us. If you didn't, you can go back and learn how to make yourself your own massive hoagie. Thanks for joining us. We were just talking about kicking butt on the Traeger with our Game Day Smokedown. Smoked trout tonight. Water's getting ready to boil. Traeger's heated up, ready to go. I'm going to glove up here actually and show you these beautiful trout, rainbow trout, were harvested out of the Missouri River in Montana, right outside of Great Falls, by a close personal friend of mine, my dad. Big time fisherman out there. Super awesome that he got these trout for me. And Parker, if you could actually, since you're sitting there. Yeah, because I got gloves on. To the cutting board camera, I'm holding up. There we go. But you can see, I'm going to try to get it in the light. There we go. That beautiful color on the skin there of the rainbow trout. You see how it glimmers? Absolutely just a beautiful fish. Yeah, there we go. When you get it in the light, you see that? Hence the name rainbow trout. Super awesome, super beautiful, and super delicious. Another great thing about trout, if you haven't had a lot of trout in your life or things like that, thank you, sir. You don't have to scale them like you do a lot of fish. Some really large trout you might have to scale, but for all intents and purposes, you don't have to go through that nasty scaling process that you do with a lot of different fish. And you can eat the skin too. And when you cook it on the grill and crisp it up, it's actually quite delicious. Awesome. And of course, since we're having Montana beer with Montana trout, it only makes sense. Make sure you check us out. I actually got the point the right way this time. I always point the wrong direction because I'm looking at myself in reverse. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of good stuff. If you're following us here on Twitch, give us a follow here. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Lots of great content coming to you. And every Wednesday, we do something wild. So, here we go. All right. Beautiful little potatoes here. Water's starting to boil. And so we are essentially just going to pop these in to get them softened up quicker. If I was doing a long stream, which is my mom's favorite, when I go for 2 hours long, because I usually get drunk and then it becomes a train wreck by the end of it. But we always have delicious food. If nothing else, it's entertaining to some people. I would take these potatoes and put them on the Traeger the whole time. But since it's a weekday and we got to behave and all that kind of good stuff, we're going to boil them for about 10 to 15 minutes just to get them softened up, but they will be going onto the Traeger. Potatoes are an excellent vessel for smoke. They're starchy and all that goodness, and they will suck up that smoke just beautifully. So we're going to get those going. We did salt our water, so we're already off to the races. That's actually going to be part of our salad later. All right. Now, let's start prepping our trout and get them going here. As far as the actual trout themselves, not super complicated, a lot of flavor, great fish in general, so we don't need to get super heady or overly complicated about it. But what we are going to do is, a lot of people have seen salmon smoked on a cedar plank. What we're going to do is actually use a very thin sheet of cedar. It's called a cedar wrap, and that's what we are going to be putting our fish into. But not just that alone. All right? So the first thing we're going to do, always soak your cedar wraps. They come out, they're very dry. You won't be able to wrap them up, and they will crack and break. We're going to put down just a little bit of olive oil there. And make sure it's nice and even. I'm actually going to glove up for this since we're handling raw meat and I'll be touching other things. So I'm going to throw on a glove on one hand here to handle the fishes that are so damn delicious. Here we go. All right. So we're going to take our trout. We're going to have the meat side up here. I'm going to flip that over so you can see what's going on the full screen. Skin side down, put down a little olive oil, and then we are going to top the top of this too with just a little olive oil, very minimal, just to get our seasonings to stick here. All right. You can feel a couple little small bones there. When you're catching wild fish and things like that, that is bound to happen from time to time. All right, so we got that. Now let's use a little all meat seasoning. You've seen me use this before on Wildgame. Just a nice light dusting. Awesome. Thanks for joining us on Twitch. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that follow button. We're making an awesome smoked trout dish tonight with a really unique salad. And we're just wrapping them up here in a cedar wrap. We're not cooking them on a cedar plank, which you can do like you would do salmon. So just a little bit of that. There we go. And then we're going to take a spoon here. Just a little bit will do you. We're just going to add a little garlic in there. And spread that over the fish evenly. Very nice. I like just a little dash of extra black pepper. All right, now the fun part. We're not just doing meat alone. So when you're doing these cedar wraps, one of the cool things you can do is add vegetables right into the wrap as well. So we're going to be using asparagus here. And whenever I cook asparagus, I always think about my grandma Max, who I'm actually named after, Maxine. That's on my mom's side. But one of the memories I have, just a little olive oil on top of your asparagus as well, very light. And of course, I hated asparagus as a kid. As an adult, I love it. We eat a ton of asparagus. But asparagus actually grows wild on the Milk River, where my grandma lived in Dodson. So I remember as a kid, my parents going down to the river with my grandma and picking wild asparagus. Then we're going to add just a little spicy booster. Got to boost it. Got to boost it, man. All right. And then I'm going to grab a piece of string. Because we're going to wrap this whole thing up together. Also soak your string, because your string will burn, much like your cedar wrap will, if you don't soak it in some water. Then we're going to just fold up the edges here and do a nice little cedar package. Nope. And we'll put our string around. And just knot it off. Or a little bow, whatever. There we go. Awesome little cedar wrapped rainbow trout with asparagus. So, I'm going to fire out the rest of these fillets real quick and get them all wrapped up as well. We're always looking for ways to impart more flavor. So we're going to have the smoke from the grill, our seasonings, of course, then the fish and asparagus, and then also this cedar wrap that's encompassing all those flavors together. So we're getting like that double barbecue-y goodness with the smoke. We're using a light wood here, which is pecan or pecan, depending on what region of the country you hail from. And that combined with this nice cedar wrap should give these fillets just a phenomenal taste. Of course, as always, if you are joining us and you're in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or Twitch and you have any questions, and not just about what we're cooking tonight, but really anything at all cooking related, or what's up, or Wildgame, or what have you, don't be afraid to hop in the chat. We love it when people interact. And, you know, let me know. I cook professionally in the competition scene, and we really do everything. So we do barbecue competitions, we do steak competitions, which is SCA, World Food Competition, Culinary Fight Club, tons of virtual stuff. As you know, just heard me talk about our little Traeger win this week, so that was cool. So don't be afraid to ask questions, get involved, let me know how your week's going on a Wednesday. We're halfway through, people. Another exciting thing too, if you like the streams and what you see here, I'll be back live on Friday on the Croy Valley Facebook page, because we're coming back with Croy Valley Live this week, and we got some fun stuff planned for that. And then of course Friday night you can come back here to Montana Max National Park, and we'll be doing our Friday night barbecue party as always. Sometimes it's really hard to like focus on what you're stacking while you're chatting. You lose things like, where'd my string go? Here's my string. And I don't know how the weather is where everyone's watching at, but we had an unseasonably warm day today for the middle of September, or now we're actually hitting late September. Where did you find the cedar wraps? Well, I found them at the cedar wrap store, of course. No, you can get those anywhere. Any sort of barbecue hardware stores a lot of times will have them. You can get them on Amazon. Walmart has carried them before. So they're out there. And they usually they usually don't find them with the wood. You find them with the accessories. But yeah, I think I picked these up actually at Walmart. But yeah, of course, like everything in the world, you can find those things on Amazon as well. 2 down. Cruising right along here. I am sweating. It is hot. So yeah, it was like 84, 85. Did it hit 85? Like 85 degrees here today. But now it's perfect. It is hot. If you're cooking, it's hot. Jen's sitting over there and she's like, it's perfect. And she's wearing a hoodie and it's still like 80 degrees. 75. Got a couple smaller little fillets here. I'm going to put all those into one wrap to make one jumbo fillet. Yes. Once again, if you're just joining us, we're just using a little all meat. Use whatever favorite seasonings you like. I'm using all meat because I use that a lot in Wildgame because it works on, as the name implies, all meat. It's like a really good seasoning salt with a kick. Not like a hot kick, but, you know, a flavor kick. No spicy. You'll be totally fine. If you don't like spice, you'll be just fine. Same thing with the spicy booster. In our house, we don't have very many fans of the spice. And they love the spicy booster, so. Potatoes are starting to look good here, coming along at a rolling boil. That little wrap wants to crack on me a little bit. That's all right. He's not going to win this battle. Maybe he is going to win this battle. I've got a trick up my sleeve for that, though. It is very thin wood, so as you can see as I'm working on the board here, got a little bit of a cracking issue with this piece of cedar. But that's a simple solve. You either get a new piece of cedar, or when I tie this knot, we will just use a secondary piece of string. See, when you're cooking, things go wrong. Don't look for problems. Look for solutions. It's no problem. We've got more string. It's added pressure, though, when you're on camera. You feel like you're defusing a bomb or something. All right. There we go. 2 strings will hold that guy together just fine. Almost there, coming along, grabbing my wraps. Remember, a little bit of olive oil. That'll help the skin. We're putting it skin side down. So as it cooks, that'll help the skin crisp up a little bit. And it won't stick to the parchment as well. A little seasoning. Throw in some asparagus. Just a touch more olive oil. This is very healthy. Yes, this is very healthy. Fish is brain food, right? Very lean, but it's going to be very satisfying. Jen says it's heart healthy. Which, in the world of barbecue, a lot of food isn't. But it doesn't mean every meal has to be super fatty meats or ribs with tons of brown sugar and butter and stuff. You can cook on your Traeger and cook extremely healthy. Unless it's a massive meatball hoagie. You like those, babe? Babe likes these. Wait till she tastes them. Wait till she tastes them. Yeah, maybe if you were on a survival show, you'd want to eat this. Like they eat the tree bark when they get real desperate. Little fiber. Don't eat the wraps. Wraps are not designed to be edible. For anybody that is out there going, yeah, you know what? They do look delicious. You can't be too sure what people are watching and what they'll do or say. That's the last thing I want to be responsible for, is somebody eating a wood wrap. My first two went real well. This guy's being a little bit of a bugger here. It's all right. We'll tie him up good. Tie him up good. Here we go. This guy's a triple stringer. I've got one little lonely half a fillet there, and I'm actually just going to put him right in there with nothing else except a little seasoning, just to give you a little comparison factor as well. All right, there we go. We got everything wrapped up. Nice little package. Good to go. Let's check our potatoes. Oh, guess who's back? Special guest. That's right, Spoonie McSpoonerson. My favorite spoon in the whole wide world. Well, hello, Spoonie. Would you like to check the potatoes? Oh, yes, I would. All right, let's just jump right in there. Pull one of these buggers out. We're just gonna, I should have brought a fork. Fork's a good way to check potatoes. I didn't bring a fork, so I'm just gonna give them a little squeezy with my hand here. Pretty darn close. Give those guys just a second more. All right, so temperature on the Traeger right now, we got it rocking right about 225 degrees, and I have the super smoke function on to get a lot of smoke generated in that temperature, or that chamber. The higher you go with your Traeger or pellet cooker, the less smoke you're gonna get. Go low, go slow, you get more smoke. Cover this up. I really do love this time of year. Cooking wild game on Wednesdays. Bugs are starting not to be so bad in your backyard. You can start really enjoying it. Awesome. If you just joined us on Twitch, thank you so much. We just wrapped up some beautiful rainbow trout in cedar wraps. If you've ever seen salmon, you've seen them probably smoked on planks. But we got these guys in a very thin cedar wrap. And we're going to start working on our salad here in just a quick moment. After I kind of clean up a few of these things that I got floating around here. So fish is on. Low and slow, nice and steady with the fish. Asparagus wrapped in there with two different types of seasonings, a little bit of garlic. We just let them ride now. We just let them ride. We'll check their temperature here in a little bit. Very easy, very simple, but very cool, right? You know, if you have guests over and stuff, and then you pull that cedar wrap technique out, and they're like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just wrapping my beautiful fish with a cedar wrap. They'll be like, oh my. So, super easy to do, very approachable. Highly recommend you try it out. I wish you could taste this stuff with me. Like this beautiful beer, Moose Drool. from Missoula, Montana. All right, so let's start prepping some of our other ingredients here. Those potatoes are real close. I'll probably throw these asparagus on in a pan just so we have some extra asparagus. So let's get those on real quick. Little olive oil. You want asparagus on the side? Eat one of the easiest things to cook. Throw them in. Always oil your pan down so you don't get stuff sticking and burning to it. A little bit of oil on top. Let's break out one of Jen's favorite seasonings tonight. Let's use a little of our special shit. Yes, that's right, special shit. There's a whole line of shit we found out. Whole line of shit. But it's delicious. Aw shit, bullshit. And if you saw how we made smoked nuts, or if you've seen my Croy Valley video on grabbing your nuts and smoking them, when you just get your stuff in the pan, add a little seasoning, just shake the pan. You got the olive oil in there. That'll coat them nicely. Be liberal with your seasoning with asparagus. We're just going to throw these guys in the back corner and let them do their thing over there. Super easy. Oh yeah, I was going to put this trout on too, with just a little seasoning. We'll throw a little special shit on him too. What do you say? Does that sound good? Okay, sounds good to me. Of course, one of the favorite things that Jen loves about this show, cooking outside. I can make a little bit of a mess and it's all good. I don't get in trouble. And we'll throw that guy skin side down. When you're cooking salmon, any whatever fish really, it doesn't matter, but salmon I do a lot of, skin side down. It helps protect the fish and it'll crisp up that skin and it'll be delicious. If people like to eat skin, it's the only way to do it. But yeah, if you go to like buy fish, especially salmon fillets, you'll notice it next time you Sam's Club. That's an easy place to spot the difference because they'll have those big coolers, right, with salmon in it, and there'll be two types of salmon. They both look the same, but if you look at the label, one of them is going to be like $2.50 more or $1.50 more, and that's always going to be the salmon without the skin. And the reason being is it's extra work for them, right, to remove the skin off. So they charge you for that. I never buy that. I always buy it with the skin on. It's a couple bucks cheaper, like I just mentioned, but when you're doing it in a grilling application, it helps protect it, helps hold everything together. Because if you're cooking it and you don't have like a plank or a wrap or something, you just put it directly on your grate with no skin, that stuff's going to get flaky and you could have your whole fish potentially fall through the grates of your grill. Then no one eats, everyone's angry with you, you just lost a really expensive piece of big meat. Bad things. Save yourself a couple bucks, buy it with the skin on. Super awesome. Super awesome. And in my opinion, my humble opinion, it displays way, way, way better with the skin on when you serve it. People are just like, oh my, did you catch this yourself? And you're like, yes, I did actually. I just flew in from Alaska on a fishing expedition and bagged this. And little do they know, you were just over at Sam's Club earlier in the afternoon, but they don't have to know that. Here's your other pro tip. You can check in anywhere on the world with Facebook. So if you have Facebook, you can be like, yeah, after work, I took my private helicopter and check in the fjords of Norway, where you caught your, beautiful Atlantic salmon. And then I just jet-setted back to cook it for you today. Doesn't matter, whatever. Anyways, moral of the story, buy it with the skin on. I think I want to take these potatoes out before I start prepping the other ingredients for the salad. They got to be pretty damn close here. And you know what that means? Spoony McSpoonerson. Very hot. Very, very hot. Yep, we're good. We're good, we're good, we're good. Turn that burner off. The other thing that I didn't bring down is a strainer. Because why would you want to do that? So I'm going to use my good friend Spoonie here. And I'm going to pour this water very gently out of this pan into the plants, because plants love boiling hot potato water. Not the baby plants. Jen just planted a whole bunch of plants. That went really well. If this was a Friday night show, that might have been a whole different scene. But it's Wednesday, and I got to work tomorrow, so I got to behave a little bit. Not a lot of bit, just a little bit. All right. Let's oil up this pan a little bit. We don't want our potatoes sticking and burning. And then we're gonna, hot potato. Take our potatoes and get them into the pan. There we go. Get rid of this guy. Spoonie can take a break. Good job, Spoonie. Potatoes are in. If you've watched any of our past episodes, there's two things in this world that I always tell you make life better. What are they? One is bacon. The second is butter. So, of course you would. This is a cooking show, not a Jen show. Jen says, I thought you were going to say me. And of course you, but we're talking about cooking. All right. Butter can go back there. We're going to use about a half a stick of butter in here because it'll melt down. I might add a little bit more, but for about this size of potatoes, a stick of butter should do it. Then, in this bowl, right in front of me, one of the things that pairs amazingly with potatoes is dill. Kind of hard to see, but let's see. There we go. Do-do, 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 dill, 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 dill. Dill, fresh dill. And we're going to take our chef's knife. Get that nice rocking motion. And just cut it to smithereens. If you can buy fresh produce, get the fresh stuff. Don't get the dried stuff. Even when you cut it, you will smell the difference. And then right into the pan. Of course, I'm using, as always, my lovely Gunter Wilhelm cutlery here. Best in the business. It's what we use for competition and home cooking and everything in between. And you can see in the bar, or now it's not a bar, but it's actually a giant screen. Shows off all of our partners that we work with, whether we're in food sport or cooking at home or on the social medias or here with you, spending a lovely Wednesday evening on Twitch or YouTube. Check them out. All great companies, all stuff we use, all stuff we believe in, like Gunter Wilhelm Cutlery, Con Coolers, The Beard Struggle, Croy Valley Foods, and Double O Drum Co. You can find their links in my bios. Go check them out. They're all really great people who do really great things and have really great products. All right, and we're going to mix all that up. That butter's already melting with the hot potatoes, which is perfect. Now, our other favorite booster seasoning, garlic booster. We're going to just sprinkle garlic booster right onto the potatoes. We're going to do that little shaky trick I showed you earlier. Get a nice even coating. And that's going to be absolutely fabulous. And that is, the potatoes are not just going to be served like that on the side. Those are going to be going into our really cool potato salad that we're going to be serving. I figured since normally, you know, fall time's here and we start to get like a little bit more rustic in the mind and thinking cold weather dishes and stuff like that. We've got stuff like that coming up in the future. But since it was like 85 degrees today, I thought a little bit lighter, more summery type dish was appropriate. So cook what you're hungry for. Cook what you like. Don't be bashful, right? Right? Awesome. Let's get the potatoes on the smoker here. Now I know at home, just put them in the back there right next to our extra asparagus that we're smoking. But these wraps here, you can already feel the moisture is very much gone out of these. It's sucked out of these a lot already. And that's why you always want to soak them. If you did this dry, not only would you have an incredibly hard time folding them into the beautiful little cedar packages that you see before you here, but they will also start on fire, especially if you are cooking at a higher temperature. You don't have time for low and slow. Maybe it's a gas grill and you're cooking 300 plus, which you can cook fish at that. It's at whatever temperature you want. You just got to really pay in mind as to how quickly that's going to get done, right? So if you're cooking at a higher temperature and you're using like cedar planks or cedar wraps or anything like that, you just need to be real cognizant of the fact that it's wood, it will catch on fire. And if you have a very thin piece of cedar like these wraps are, they're extremely thin, just like less than a millimeter thick, it doesn't take much for those buggers to spark up and ignite. Safety first, kids. No love without the glove. And by that I'm talking about cross-contamination, not the stuff you learned in health class. All right. So we got everything on the smoker here. Potatoes, some extra asparagus, and then our lovely rainbow trout packages. Thank you so much if you just joined us. Let's start prepping up the rest of what's going to go in our salad. Because we do actually have one more thing that's going to go on the grill. Grilled cucumbers. What? Did he say grilled cucumbers? Yes, I did. These guys don't take long to cook, don't need a lot. We're just going to get them prepped up and ready to go on the board here. Using the baby cukes because they're adorable, like Jen. Oh, now she's happy. She's got her seltzer. She's on her 7th seltzer and it's a Wednesday. But that's what happens when you're a real estate agent. Every day's the weekend. Right, babe? I'm just kidding. Kind of. I am kidding. All right. So we're going to just take the ends off of these baby cucumbers here. These guys are going to be part of our salad, but you're going to see when you grill them, they take on beautiful grill marks, add an extra dimension of flavor. So we're just going to get rid of those guys. Throw those nubbins into the trash. Now there's a couple different ways you can go about doing this for presentation purposes, right? So you can cut them into half moons or anything like you would in a regular salad, but we're going to grill these, so we need a lot of surface area so these guys take on those grill marks that I was talking about. So we're going to cut them lengthways. Into long strips. Kind of what you would think of like the sandwich stacker, like on a pickle would be like. See how thin that is? Not much to it. I'm actually going to take off the very edge of that one. There we go. Very important that you use a sharp knife when you're doing this, because we're making very precise cuts here. You don't want to slip and lose a finger. See right here, that looks like it's one piece. It's not. 2 pieces. And cucumbers, which if you can see me kind of fumbling around with them, are very wet, so you need to be careful when you're doing this. That one's an ugly one. I don't want that one. All right. Super awesome. maybe one more. The one thing that I will tell you is if you ever do cut yourself, and people will cut themselves. I've cut myself accidentally. I mean, accidents happen. If you have a sharp knife, that injury is going to be way less of a problem for you. If you have a dull knife, that injury is harder to stitch up if it's that bad. It can also be a jagged cut, which is more prone to infections and things like that. If you cut yourself with a sharp knife, it's a cleaner cut. It's easier to give yourself or somebody else first aid. So just another reason to have sharp knives, proper tools for the proper jobs. All right, we got enough of those buggers. And these guys do not take very long, so I'm going to let those guys sit there, and we are going to cut up some radishes. Radish, super pretty, also super potent. So I've got a little dish here to the side with ice water in it. We're going to soak these radishes in the ice water because that'll help mellow them out a little bit, and it'll also soften them up. If you've never bit into a raw radish, try it. Live. Do it. And then you will understand exactly why you want to soak them a little bit. And these guys, we're going to cut these guys like paper thin. Paper thin. Get them right into the water. So thin, you're actually going to be almost in here. I'm going to move up there. Remember that pinch grip that I've shown you guys on your blades. Gives you the most control over your knife. You can see how thin that is compared to my fingers there. If you hold it up to the light, it'll be translucent. Even thinner. That one you can actually, we'll hold it up here. There it is. See that bad boy? You can almost see through that. Almost. That's what we're looking for on this. Super thin. The radish is not the star of the dish. Yeah, awesome. That bugger right there. You can see my finger behind it. Integral part of the dish, not the star of the dish. So we want nice, super thin cuts on those. And I just cut the ends off, the root end off of the radish. I'm using that in there. The bottom, or I guess that would be the root end, not the top. But I'm using the root end to actually hold that radish to give me control over it. And when you're doing these really fine cuts, that way, there you go. There's a good look at how thin that is. Right on that knife blade. Almost disappears when you turn it there. Also keeps your fingers out of the way. So if for some reason it did slip or something like that, you're not going to go right through your thumb or any of that. If you really, 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 really love radish, go ahead and cut it thicker. And you'll start to see here we got a lot of different colors coming together. Which, the old saying, eat the rainbow, colorful dishes. Also very eye attracting, right? People always eat with their eyes. You've heard me say that every single episode that we've done. They always eat with their eyes, so give them something delicious to look at. They'll already have that preconception. You're off to a running start with your dishes. There we go. If you tune in Friday night, we were actually challenged last Friday by one of our viewers, and I'm going to be making a barbecue dish for our Friday night barbecue party with the ingredient Takis. He said, can you make a dish with Takis? He leveled the challenge. So I accepted. So we're going to be doing, I'm not going to tell you what it is. You got to tune in to watch, but we're going to be doing a really cool creative dish with Takis. And the deal was, I said, if I do it, then you've got to recreate it. So should be an interesting deal. Shaving the radish. All right, we're just going to let these guys soak in the water there. Put the bowl over here. There you go. You can see all those beautiful little radish circles swimming around. It's going to help dissipate a little of that flavor, soften them up, keep them moist, because those are going to be going into the salad, the dressing that we're making as well. All right, those two radishes can get out of here. Let's take a little peek and see what temperature our trout is sitting at. About 120 degrees. So target temperature for fish, you're looking at 145-ish. If you don't want it like that, because some people have it in their heads, you can cook it more, but I'm going to tell you, fish gets really dry real quick. You want to be real careful. It's one of the nice things about putting these guys in the cedar wraps is that moisture is actually going to help steam the fish, keep it moist as well. So we're going to go ahead. These baby cucumbers that I'm not using can go over there. And we're going to take our little cucumbers here that we've sliced into long slices. Because they're going on the grill, they already have a lot of moisture, but we are going to give them just a touch of seasoning, very basic here. And for that seasoning, to make sure we get a nice stick in the grill and all that good stuff, we're going to just take our olive oil, run it right over the top. I'm going to use a glove just to keep my hands clean for dealing with other stuff. And just make sure we get a nice cover on those. Very nice, very light, very light. Don't overdo it. Don't get crazy. All right, let's season them up. And this, we're going to go real simple. Just a little salt and pepper. That's all we're going to do. This is going into a salad with a bunch of other ingredients, so we don't need to get crazy. We don't need to layer them with a bunch of barbecue rub and stuff. People that watch the show know that I do use a lot of barbecue rubs as a substitute for salt and pepper seasoning. But salt and pepper is great. That's why you'll see it in all these recipes. Let's give our pan a little shake here. I'm going to need that other half a stick of butter. We're going to throw that in with the potatoes. Throw that in with the potatoes. And then, like I said earlier, we want to get some grill marks here. So I'm actually going to, the trout is probably at 125 degrees or so. Take it on about as much smoke as we need with the super smoke setting. So we're going to kick it up to 400 here, because we're going to do our cucumbers on the hot zone in the front. So we're actually going to move our trout into the middle a little bit more so they're not hitting the direct heat that's up front. Potatoes are looking good. Asparagus is looking good. I'm going to actually stack those pans. And we'll move our trout back. And that little bugger that I put up front by himself there, if you saw that, he stuck a little bit there. And that's because I didn't use any spray oil on the grate. So lesson learned there, right? Always give your grates a little bit of a spray oil to avoid that sticking problem. Especially, like I said, that's example of what I told you earlier, right? It can stick to your grates, it can fall through. No moss. All right, let's get this cucumber right across the front here, hottest zone of the grill. And it's not going to take very long. They do have a lot of moisture, so it's one of the safer things that you can get away with. If you walk away and go, oh, didn't I have something on there? But you don't want to get them super dry. We're not making cucumber jerky. We're not using it like a dehydrator here. So once again, you're seeing everything there on the Ironwood 885, right? We're making use of our space. There is a top rack that I could have thrown those on. I don't have the top rack in because we made a massive hoagie. And I needed all that headroom for that mammoth sandwich. So, now we have everything in the grill that we need. You guys getting hungry? Yes. Yep. When you go over they just said super smoke is canceled. Once you go above 225 degrees, super smoke will cancel itself. That's the highest rating that super smoke runs at. You can run it below that. If you're doing if you're barbecuing bigger pieces of meat or things like that, like say you're doing like a pork shoulder, right? Or a brisket or something like that. You can start cooking your meats at like 190, 200 degrees for the first hour or two and turn that super smoke on. I typically don't cook them that low a temperature. 225 is about the lowest I go, just because anything under that, if you go an extended amount of time, you run the risk of bacteria and stuff forming in the meat and you can make people sick. So, I mean, if you do cook them at a lower temperature, do it for a minimal amount of time to absorb that smoke. Meat will only take on so much smoke anyway. So if you think you're going to let your meat ride at like 180 for like 6 hours and really smoke that bugger, all you're doing is running the risk of making people sick. Don't do that. If you want to add extra smoke, get one of those smoke tubes. That's what I use to smoke cheese. And you fill it with pellets or wood chips or whatever, and you can put that into the chamber, cook at a higher temperature that's food safe, and then not make people sick and still get that extra smoke. Like I said, your meats, like your big meats like brisket, pork shoulders, or even ribs or whatever, are only going to take on smoke for a certain amount of time. And if you add too much smoke, like things like mesquite especially, but some of your hardier woods, it can actually taint the taste of your meat too. And it can be it'll turn it bitter. And then you'll have people, you'll be like, I worked on these, especially a big piece of meat, right? Because a big piece of meat is a big investment in money. If you buy a big ass brisket for you and all your big ass friends, you can be dropping 50, 60, 70, 80, or if you're doing like Wagyu, like way more than that, like up to $200 or more for a really quality brisket, right? If you go and you over smoke that poor thing and turn it bitter, that's a huge waste of money. It's a huge waste of time. And when your friends come over and they're trying to be polite and choke down your brisket that's bitter and tastes like shit, and they're all like, yeah, it's really good. It's really good. And you're like, yeah, totally. I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning smoking this thing. Then you're going to look like an even bigger a-hole because your food sucks. So don't do that. But anyways, back to the food at hand. Let's make a sauce for our potatoes and vegetables that our trout's going to go with. I'm going to use a bowl. Nice lime green bowl. Bam. Absolutely gorgeous. So we're going to be using Greek yogurt. You can use plain yogurt. If you're boring, Greek yogurt has a little bit more flavor. But you can use plain yogurt. Don't use strawberry yogurt, blueberry yogurt, or any of those kinds with the mix-in. We want just a straight standard yogurt. I like using Greek yogurt because it does have a little bit more flavor, a little bit more essence to it, especially when you're making a sauce. But plain yogurt's fine too. Yes?
It's got a really good texture.
And Jen loves the texture. It does have a different texture than just your standard yogurt. So we have some Greek yogurt here. Greek yogurt. All right, Spoonie, you've been doing potatoes and all kinds of other stuff. Let's use a different one. Let's use your older, brassier friend, Spoonie McSenierson, the older spoon. More wisdom, a little bit hardened by life, but still super cool. We're going to just spoon a couple decent spoonfuls here. There's one. There's two. Awesome. That's pretty tasty. That's pretty tasty yogurt. I like that. Yeah, that's good. All right. A little bit of yogurt. Now, we're not making like a couple spoonfuls. You're looking at about like a cup of yogurt, roughly. This is just to coat everything, right? To coat potatoes and all this other radishes and stuff that we're going to be putting in here. So you don't need like 15 pounds of it. This isn't going to be, you don't want this sauce to like weigh everything down. This is going to be just like a nice coating, right? All right, and then we're going to take drizzle of olive oil. It's probably about a tablespoon. Put that in there. We're going to go back to our garlic. Garlic is awesome. Just a little bit of garlic in there. I feel like it's the stupidest thing, but I'm like, I'm a professional. Like when I tap on the glass. Like that's something a pro would do. Such a jackass sometimes. No comments. She's like, all the time. All the time. All right, so we got that in there. Little olive oil, little garlic. We're going to add dill to this as well. So let's go back to super awesome knife cam. With the pinch grip. Here's the other thing. When you're holding your produce, don't hold it with your fingers out. With your knuckles. See that? And that way, if the knife does not rise above your knuckles, you can move your stuff up. See that? You're not going to cut your fingers off. Awesome. If you're just joining us on Twitch, thank you. Number one, hit that follow button if you feel so inclined, because we do lots of awesome things here. And we're just getting ready to dress an awesome salad that's going to be going with our smoked trout, smoked potatoes, smoked asparagus. We're smoking it all on our Traeger Ironwood 885. You can do this on any grill. You can cook this in the oven as well. Don't feel like, oh man, now I got to go get a Traeger. I mean, that's cool if you do. Traegers are awesome, and I cook on mine year round. But all these recipes, you can recreate them basically in the oven or things like that. Don't use the microwave. How often do we use our microwave? Very rarely. Very rarely. Once in a while, Jen breaks down. She's like, I got to have a Hot Pocket. Never. That was the most offensive thing I could say to Jen during this show. Anything else? And she's like, how dare you? How dare you say that I would eat a Hot Pocket? All right. So we got the garlic in. Let's add our finely chopped dill here. Get all that dill goodness. Use the edge of our knife to pick that up. All that's going in there. Then we are going to use a tablespoon, roughly, of tahini. What's tahini? Well, tahini is a paste Now I'm going to mess it up. I should have brought the whole thing out. That's basically like, they use it in hummus and things like that. It's a ground celery seed. Nuts. Smells a little bit like peanut butter. I can't remember what the tahini is. Sesame seed, that's what it is. Not celery, sesame seed. Thank you, dear. Yes, it's based off of ground sesame seeds, but you can find it in Indian cooking a lot. Our Thai cooking uses it a lot. And like I said, big time ingredient in hummus. If you want to make hummus at home, you're going to have some tahini. You can find it in typically like the ethnic food aisle, top shelf. I found mine at the end. But you're going to find it there or in your spices aisle, but most likely at your grocery store in your ethnic food area. All right. And then we're going to just stir all this goodness together. There we go. Stir cam. Do you feel like you're going stir crazy? Well, don't worry. We have stir cam. None of these ingredients are anything raw that's going to hurt you. It's just about perfect. But we forgot one thing. And we need to season. So we are going to use just salt in here. Basic seasoning. We need a little salt. That comment could use a little salt. So salt it up. That'll give it that nice flavor pop. And stir, stir, stir. Let's check on our lovely little cucumbers here. Yep, they're looking good. Let's go ahead and pull these guys off. So all this stuff is going to go into the salad. So the bowl here, we're just going to take them right off the grill and drop them in there. You can see, can you zoom in a little bit closer? There we go. You can see it picked up those grill marks. We got that nice little char to bring that flavor out. While we're doing that and we got this open, I'm gonna grab my thermometer. Our trout is good. Everything's coming together at the same time. Awesome. Everything is awesome. So I'm actually going to pull these out. We hit our temp. They're sitting good. I'm going to pull these out and just rest them right on the cutting board. Those can sit there for a minute. We'll just set them right there. Crank that heat down because we are pretty much done cooking. That's awesome. All right. So let's stir in these cucumbers. Get them in there. We can now take, we're actually going to leave the radishes. Oh, yeah, that's why I got this. Also, I forgot one vital thing on the sauce. Because that yogurt's real heavy, right? Because it's like a dairy product. So whenever we're cooking with something heavy, we're going to use citrus to help cut through that. So I'm just going to pop these seeds. We're going to squeeze a lemon in there, juice from half of a lemon. That is going to brighten it up tenfold. It's also going to help thin it out. Should have showed you the trick. To get all your juice out of a lemon, you should roll it before you cut it, and you'll see that it's much easier to juice. You can't be just a super stud like I am, squeezing lemons until there's nothing left. Just roll it. Just roll it on the counter. Then cut it open. Okay, bingo bango. Let's add some potato. Use my hot glove here. Take the whole pan out. You could dice these or cut them into like wedges or things like that. Since it's Wild Game Wednesday, we're going for a little bit more rustic approach. So I elected not to dice them up or cut them. But do what you want. Do what you think looks pretty. Do what you think looks good. Let's see here. I just had him. Well, whatever. It's all going to the same spot anyway, so. Let's dump our potatoes. Except for that one. That one I'm going to drop on the ground because he wasn't worthy of this salad. If a little butter gets in there, don't you worry. Don't you worry. Butter is delicious. We're actually going to save this butter. I'm going to move it. There we go. Stir all that good stuff together. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as the kids say, right? The kids still say that. Reward yourself with a drink for a job well done. We're about ready to start plating up here. Let's open our little cedar packages and see how everything has come out. I went ahead and used my thermopen to temp them, so I know that they're done. I'm not worried about that. We're not going to open this up and find a piece of raw meat or anything. First things first, might as well start plating at the same time. So we're going to just take our rustic potato salad. Set that right in the center of the plate. You want to go ahead and move the camera up for me to the cutting board. Since we're plating up, and go ahead and, yep, right there. Bam, so there's our potato salad. And now we're going to take our radishes as well that we did earlier and just place those by hand to offer that little extra pop of color and a little bit of extra pop of taste there. See that? You see that? It's absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely wonderful. So we add those in there. Now we're going to open the cedar package here. Pull off our string. Moment of truth, right? As they say. Dun, dun, dun. This is what all 5 of you, there's 5 of them. We're blowing up. We're going viral. People are like, we must see this trout. It sounds amazing. Let's open it up. That is absolutely, actually stunning. Yeah, flip her over there. So we are going to take that right out of the packaging. It's very hot, so I'm going to use some gloves to offer a little bit of protection here against my hands. Should be using my hot hands. Wasn't thinking. Oh, and then I just ripped through my gloves being a super stud. Oh, yes, super stud. All right. And this is Wednesday. I've had one beer. Imagine what Friday is. If you haven't tuned into our Friday show, it gets a little cray cray. Come here, babe. It's time for your inspection. All right, let's pop this beautiful piece of trout right on top there. For presentation purposes, I'm just going to cross those asparagus. Just like that. Oh, look. Hashtag gorgeous. I just hashtagged with my asparagus. So we got that, and then clear just a little bit of room here. My trash can got turned. The last thing, right? Two things, actually. We're going to take just a little bit of dill and give it a little sprinkle there. And then once again, we got a heavier white sauce, right? Thank you, X-Ray, for that guy's face. Huh? Pog face? What's a pog face? I'm not that hip.
The Twitch emoji head.
But anyways, thank you. Interaction is awesome. And thank you for being here. And he follows us, and thank you for following us. I'm a big fan of your work following us. Where's my little thing? Okay, so we have a heavier sauce, right? So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take our lemon, the other half we didn't use, and we're going to actually just lemon zest right over the top of this. The zest is like that essence of lemon. It'll give it just that fresh taste. When you have that lemon zest, also just splattered, not splattered because it's not a splatter, it's not a liquid, but around the plate. When you set that down in front of your guests, they're going to smell that freshness come right up. I want to learn how to cook and think this channel is awesome. Thank you. I think you're awesome. And if you ever have questions, make sure you ask, because we are doing things 3 times a week. And even if it isn't involved in what we're doing, you know, if you're cooking the oven, stovetop, whatever you cook on, we do it. I'm here to help. So make sure you ask questions. And if you don't want to ask them here, always pop into those DMs and let me know. Send me an email. Send me a carrier pigeon. But anyways, I'm going to hold this up to the camera here, Park, so we can get a really nice view of that. So there we have. Beautiful. Smoked rainbow trout with asparagus on top of a bed of smoked potatoes, grilled cucumbers, fresh radish, all with a yogurt sauce that we made. Just few ingredients, super easy to make. This, what we're gonna make here, and this is just one plate. I'm gonna feed the whole family of 4 here. This whole dish to feed a family of 4, and I mean, when you're eating potatoes and all this stuff, no one's gonna leave the table hungry. We got plenty of food, but the total ticket price on this is like $20. If you catch your own fish, like my dad did for me, it's even cheaper. Because protein's usually like the most expensive thing. Would you like to try this, dear? Yes. Grab yourself a fork. This plate is for you. Jen's here to try it. Remember, if you want to say something to the fine people of the interwebs, to talk into my beard.
This looks so good. I'm going to try the trout first.
First, she's trying the trout.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah? She likes it.
It's perfect.
And here's the great thing. We should do a close-up camera of just Jen's face. Not right now. I'm saying this in jest. Parker's like ready to go. But she can't lie to save her frickin' life. So if it was like kind of good or even subpar, it'd be like, she'd be like, yeah, you really knocked this one out of the park. Oh my God, slow down. You give yourself a tum-tum ache.
Potatoes are delicious.
The trout, my mom says the trout is priceless. It really is.
I love the dill.
Do you love the fresh dill? So that's the thing, right? When we talk about this, that would be awesome. Thank you so much, X-Ray. That's super cool.
Cool.
That's one of the things that we say time and time again, and it's not more expensive to use fresh ingredients. Just a little bit of dill costs nothing. Like nothing. It's super cheap. Cucumbers, super cheap. Not that you could buy canned cucumbers. I bet you can in some parts of the world. And tune into our Yum Yum box unboxing when we open next week a can of cucumbers.
This is so good. You're going to love this.
I'm excited. Go ahead, sit down and eat that. I'll plate up some food for everybody here while I'm yammering on. But, you know, radishes. You can get a bunch of radishes, like a bunch. Like you pull them out of your produce, right? 99 cents. Nothing. You know, these ingredients to make this flavor, to make this dish, very, very cheap.
Show the wraps again for people that just joined.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, one of the ways that we imparted flavor, also super cheap. You can find it in your grilling sections. Someone asked earlier, where can we find grilling wraps? Amazon, of course, Walmart, any place that has a decent grilling selection, your hardware store, stuff like that. Super easy to get into. And we actually cook these here in a cedar wrap, right? So people cook salmon on cedar planks. These are extremely thin wraps, and then you have to soak them so they become malleable. What's the word? Malleable. Malleable. Jen and her fancy words here. So inside here we have seasoned trout with asparagus that have been smoking with the cedar wrap outside of it. Super great way to do it. And a lot of people don't even know these things exist. But they're super rad. They really are. All right, Park, I'm going to plate you up now, man.
Asparagus is wonderful too.
Asparagus is wonderful too. Good, good, good.
And there's no bones.
Good. You got a good piece then.
Yeah.
Jen got a piece with no bones. She's happy. Awesome. Thank you, X-Ray. You are the man or woman or whatever. X-Ray can go either way. So I don't know. I'm making judgments. Whatever you identify is awesome, and thank you. We appreciate it so much. We really do. All right. I'm just working on plating up the next one here. So let's go ahead and pop this one open. You can see on this right here, I'll walk up to the camera with this one so we don't have to try and find each other. But the tip of this is the string, right? And this is going to be kind of hard to see. Maybe if I put my hand behind it. That the tips there started to singe. That's why it's super important you soak that stuff. Because if you put those on there and don't soak them, you don't soak your string, you don't soak your wrap, right? What's going to happen is they're going to burn off. It's going to flop open. You're going to catch a fire. You're going to have a bad time. All right, so let's plate this up for the Park Man. This one we'll just do the asparagus 3 that way with a score. And plate whatever you think's pretty, man. You know, like, if you think it looks cool, then it probably looks cool. Don't spend too much time thinking about it. There's so many, you know, ways to present food. There's like a bazillion Pinterest pages and videos. And yeah, you can make this exact recipe with any type of fish. Do you get a lot of cedar flavor? Was a question. What do you... Are you getting that wood flavor? Just a hint of it?
Yes.
Yep. The answer is yes. From the Taste Bud Queen, because she's got probably the most delicate taste buds. So yeah, you do get the cedar flavor, which is why you do it, besides just looking cool.
Cedar plank.
Very similar to cedar plank. Epic person is what I am. I couldn't agree more, X-Ray. Yes, you are. And thank you again. We all need to be epic people. Everyone needs to take a lesson from X-Ray and just be epic people. Take care of each other and be epic. I mean, what more can you ask for, right? Not much. I think that's the lesson for today. Besides smoking trout, it's just be epic. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Oh, he said it at the same time. Just be epic. I was like, Jinx. Jinx, buy me a Coke. Awesome. Great minds think alike. All right, let's do a little lemon zest here. I'm telling you, this lemon zest, just like with a cheese grater or whatever you have, you know, you probably got a cheese grater in a drawer. If you go to Salvation Army, they'll probably throw one in for free because I like everyone's like getting rid of like cheese graters and stuff. But just a grater, zester, whatever, just if you pick up one trick with your food, anything that's like a cream sauce or something that's heavy, use lemon and zest it on there. It'll totally make a huge difference. All right, Parker, here you go, man. You were chowing down, dear.
Yeah.
All right. Plating up, plating up. Here's also that piece of trout here. Just a side note while I'm doing this plate up here that I cooked without wrapping or anything. And I'm gonna, I can find it. There we go, right there. Cooked there. There's the one side. See, it has a beautiful pinkish hue to it. And then the back side. Yep, thank you, perfect. There's that beautiful rainbow trout, which we showed you at the beginning of the show, that color. We can see it playing. You still get that luminescence coming through. But you can actually, we'll go back to the main shot. The skin is edible. It's like a crispy chip. I really love it. It's super delicious, not overly fishy. You can eat the skin right along with it. So, super rad. This turned out really good. Even that piece that doesn't have the cedar with it, super awesome.
Your dad's a good fisherman.
I like cooked salmon. I've tried cooked bass. I have not tried cooked bass. If you haven't tried cooked bass, bass is great. Halibut's one of my all-time favorites. Halibut's a lot more expensive, but when it's done right, absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But you can do this recipe too. Like another good economic fish is like tilapia or cod. Both very sustainable as well. So if you have that kind of mentality where you're like, I really want to cook a sustainable product that's good for the environment. Both great fish to do that. Both very economically priced. But yeah, really any fish that you wanted to do, you could do this with. With halibut, I would recommend, I probably wouldn't do this. I wouldn't plate it like this because like if you cook halibut, which is like I said, a pricier fish, halibut should really be the star of the plate. It should really be like on its own is like the showpiece. In my humble opinion. All right. Pull this guy out here. There we go. This one I'm going to take a picture of, I believe. If I can gather enough dill here. You are very welcome, dear. I'm glad you enjoy it. All right, zesty, zesty. Zest of life. That's a thing. That's what this one I'm taking a picture of, which I'll post to my Instagram and Facebook page and all that kind of good stuff. But we got the lovely green. Oh, hey, Parker, I forgot to put the radishes on yours. Where's your plate? Just so you can get the full flavor profile. I got talking. But take a couple of these. There we go. See how that pretty that makes it look there? One more. You got to have 3. When you're plating, here's another tip. Use an odd number of items. So 3 or 5 asparagus, not 2 or 4, right? If you're using radishes and you put those in, use, 3 or 5. Odd numbers are always like more appealing to the human eye because we as humans are always looking for like balance, right? So it's like, oh, this is something that's different. There's 3, and it just kind of makes your brain on that subconscious level try to figure out a little bit like, well, what exactly is going on here? So it makes it more interesting for the person eating the dish if you're cooking for somebody. It's not one of those things where they're going to be like, how come you use 3? It's just going to register, right, in their brain subconsciously like, oh my, that looks different. That is peculiar. It looks delicious. But you'll know. They won't know, but you will. And that's what counts. You'll be like, yep. That's right, it is interesting. Yeah, let's talk about what we have coming up because we're nearing the end of the stream here, so we should tell everyone what we got coming up. So Friday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to be doing, as we usually do on Fridays, our Friday night barbecue party. That one we were actually challenged by one of our viewers to make a dish with Takis. So we're going to be doing Takis. Fun stuff. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do because I don't want to spoil the surprise. But join us, have a drink. If you don't drink, have a Sprite or whatever you like to enjoy to unwind. And join us Friday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time as we have our Friday night barbecue party. Super laid back. We like to have a good time. We like to get people interacting. And yeah, we kick off the weekend and just enjoy each other, enjoy some food, all that kind of good stuff. And then Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time is our game day smoke down. Whether you're tailgating for football, baseball, or esports, or whatever it is, or if you're just getting together with people and want some really fabulous tailgate type dishes, like last week when we did our massive meatball hoagie. Super awesome. Won the Traeger Award for the week, which I'm super stoked about, so I can't wait to show you guys my flag when that's coming up. And then, we got another Yum Yum box unboxing that we got on the horizon real soon. And a bunch of other fun stuff too. And like I said, if you ever have requests, if you go back through our Instagram page, all of our links are at Montana Max BBQ. If you go back through any of our stuff and you see something that you're like, man, that's really cool, I wonder how he did that, send me a message. Let me know. I'd be happy to recreate any of the dishes that we've made in the past live, and I can walk you through with how we did it and all that kind of good stuff too. So super easy, super rad. And all those links are in our About section. You can check it out. Super rad. All right. Well, I think that's... I'm going to reward myself with another beautiful Moose Drool because that's a Montana beer. Yeah, sweet. There's our Instagram link right there that you can click over and give us a follow. Send me a message. Say hi. If you cook something that we cooked or something that was inspired about it, please tag me. I'd love to see it and share it and all that kind of good stuff. And as I spill on myself, I can't thank everyone enough that joined us here tonight. We really appreciate having you. Appreciate all your support and checking us out. And I think it's time to eat. Jen's almost finished her plate, so that's a good sign for me to start eating. Thank you so much for everyone for coming. And remember, as always, for those about to cook, we salute you. Have a good night, everybody.